Okay, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about autism spectrum disorders and sleep problems, sleep disorders. I recorded this video one time already, and I had issues with my being on WebMD and using my camera at the same time. So I'm going to try to recall from memory basically what we discussed because it doesn't have good quality video if I have WebMD open. So needless to say, in WebMD.com, it claimed that children with autism, it's 40 to 80% of children with autism have sleep disorders. It went on to explain that it has to do with the circadian clock or the circadian cycle, and it also has to do with the melatonin. These are theories, could possibly have to do with melatonin production, that we either have more during the day and less at night, those of us with autism spectrum disorders. It also mentioned that it could possibly have to do with social cues, why we don't sleep well, but from my own experience, it's never been anything to do with anyone, because no matter what my environment was like when I go to bed, and still to this day what my environment is like, my mind was still running and racing. And I think that was the majority of why I had a bipolar diagnosis, was because my thoughts were always racing. My mind was always racing. My energy levels were up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the day, which I know now to be not just energy levels, but also my attention, my ability to maintain attention towards one thing or another. It's obviously ADHD. Now, keep in mind, ADHD is not always ADHD. Like, there are moments when we're calm and we're cool and we're collected. Kids, I don't think kids should be diagnosed with that or treated for it, mainly because children have a different energy level than adults. And if you start messing with it when they're young, rather than using diet and all that stuff to maintain a healthy energy level and to maintain a healthy brain function for like concentration or retention of memory, if you don't use diet and just the overall approach to teaching children with ADHD as opposed to medication, then I think it's going to make problems for them later in the future. Needless to say, the whole circadian rhythm, the whole melatonin, they're only hypothesis. They don't know why. So WebMD says that they don't know why people with autism are 40 to 80% having sleep disorders. Now, I don't do natural remedies because they don't work. I do, however, boil banana peels. I boil banana peels and make what's called banana peel tea. That's one of the only things I've tried as far as natural remedies go. I do use a diffuser now that my mother got me one for Christmas, and I do diffuse lavender at night. I do also use lavender body wash, children's baby lavender body wash. But other than that, I take Lunesta. But I'm an adult. I don't feel like my daughter doesn't have problems sleeping. She stays up late, but once she goes to sleep, she gets to sleep. She doesn't have problems throughout the day, generally with fatigue or, not that I've noticed, not that she's mentioned. She does go to bed rather late, but she does wake up at a decent time on most occasions. Sometimes she'll sleep in, but I think that's more pertaining to her activity on the phone or social media. Needless to say, myself, I will not go to sleep until probably 3 or 4 in the morning, no matter what I do. I can stay up all night the night before and all that day, and I still will not be able to fall asleep until 3 or 4 in the morning. So I have to take Lunesta. It's the only one so far that I've found that doesn't cause me any fatigue or lethargy. I don't know if that's the word, but any drowsiness, etc. the next day. When I was receiving mental health services for bipolar disorder and anxiety, and I was mostly taking antidepressants and antipsychotics, and that's because of the situation I was in California. But they weren't really aiding anything except for my mood, maybe. I think I was taking mood stabilizers as well. But my mood was fine. But I still had like mania. I still had difficulty sleeping. I still had depressive episodes, and I think that's why my diagnosis was originally bipolar. But I don't believe that I am bipolar in any way, shape, or form, because I do go and compare by the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders. Yeah, if you read the symptoms, there are like far more symptoms in the autism spectrum disorder and Asperger's than there is in bipolar. And a lot of them are similar, like the racing thoughts and the cyclothymic or rapid cycling is what I believed I had. They had not specified as 212 or cyclothymic or rapid cycling or whatever. They had not specified, at least not to me, in mental health services. But they had me on any number. At one time, 6. It took 6 medications at one time to keep me stable. And that I believe was because I was enduring a lot of abuse, and I was in a very stressful and not healthy at all environment. So that being said, now that I'm in a healthy environment, I'm on no medication at all, but I still do have sleep disturbances. Getting to sleep, very difficult. Like I said, 3 or 4 in the morning. And then if I do get to sleep at 3 or 4 in the morning, I still wake up at like between 5 and 8. So I do have to take Lunesta to get to sleep. And it's frustrating because you're sitting there, you can be exhausted as can be, like the most tired person on the planet, and your body just will not shut down. And actually your body will actually probably shut down too. It's just your brain, and your eyes won't close, your brain stays, and nothing shuts down that's supposed to. But then you can survive the night, and then the next day, like maybe you'll get a nap or 2 in, but they won't be like a significant amount of time. They won't be anything that makes a significant difference. So yes, I do take a sleep aid. Silly. I do take a sleep aid. I don't recommend it for children. I recommend trying diet and natural remedies. Definitely aromatherapy, yoga. Yoga helps with. I did my yoga today, and I feel amazing. Like my energy is different. My energy is more like I'm energized and I'm ready to move and do things, but it's not my normal like. Normally I have a very uncomfortable amount of energy, like everything's just balled up inside, and I have nothing to do to exert that energy. And even if I do something, like literally I'll be running through the house like yelling off random noises and just spastic motions everywhere, just because I have so much energy that's like. But today, since I've done yoga, it's a completely different energy. Like I'm not sure why there's such a huge difference and why it's so noticeable, but it's a good thing. That, and I was listening to some like meditation music. It was Tibetan. It was like chimes and the singing bowls, I think they're called. I listened to that while I showered. So yes, all good stuff. And now I'm diffusing eucalyptus and peppermint. They're supposed to be energizing and cleansing to the air, etc., etc. The whole point is yes, autism spectrum disorders, Asperger's, not all of us, but many of us do have sleep disorders. Natural remedies are the best way to go if you can control your diet, and if you can keep yourself on a very consistent schedule or routine, which is usually how, like, people confuse schedules with routine. Like me. I love routine. But now that I'm recovering from such an abusive situation and recovering from such a stressful and traumatic environment in California, now that I'm recovering from that, it's different. Like, routine is much different than schedule. So I think in California, I was making an effort to continue. I was continuously making an effort to make schedules, and there my sleep patterns were, because I was uncomfortable at night being alone. I was uncomfortable with all the sounds that were radiating through my trailer at night. I didn't feel safe. I had a lot going on, and so I didn't necessarily make myself go to sleep until I felt safe, and that was usually when the sun did come up and everyone else was awake. Now, the sounds during the day don't permeate as much because the air is a lot thicker. I believe that's why. But at night, the air's thinner and sound travels more. So there are different sounds that you're not used to, and they would keep me awake. So I wouldn't generally go to sleep until like 4 or 5 in the morning anyways, and then I'd sleep till 10. But that's what was working for me in California. That's just what I did, and that's when I felt safest because generally from between 4 and 10 is when my neighbor was up doing her yard work, feeding her cats, and doing all those things. So I felt a lot safer at that time. Anyhow, all that set aside, and being here in Arizona in a much more conducive to health and a healthy environment, I did try no sleep aids a couple nights. Before I started seeing a primary care physician, I was taking diphenhydramine, which is Benadryl. Now, fair warning, to anyone that has a sensitivity to Benadryl, which I do, I was really unaware that diphenhydramine is Benadryl. Now, I thought I just had a high tolerance to it. But what it is that I have to take like the higher dose of diphenhydramine, because if I only take the lower dose, like I get really bad, up and down all night, just a real tense, it's not tense, it's, what do they call it? I can't think of what they call it. Okay, well, anyways, when I take diphenhydramine for an extended amount of time, I do start to get restless leg syndrome. And, but I do, if I only take the small dose, I do have a reaction to it. It's not a good reaction either. It's very, it's much like restless leg syndrome, but through your whole body. and it wasn't cool. So I would have to take the higher doses of diphenhydramine. Needless to say, once I saw my primary physician, she gave me Lunesta, and that is working amazingly. Amazing. I don't have any side effects from it. She said some people, I had to have my daughter watch me the first few nights. She said some people do sleepwalk and have issues like doing things and not remembering they did them, etc., etc. But she stays up till 4 a.m. anyways, and she wasn't going to school yet, and well, she's just barely going to be starting school next week. But there was nothing we were... God, I hate it when I lose my words. There was nothing that we had committed to, so she was able to stay up and make sure that I was okay while I was sleeping, which is great. And the first few nights, we were fine. I was fine. And so I continued on with them. I don't have any drowsiness the next day. I don't have any, when I get up at night and I have to use the restroom, I'm fine. I'm not, like, debilitated. Whereas with the diphenhydramine, I'd have to take so much that I was almost debilitated. It was really difficult to get to the restroom as far as dizziness and balance goes. But with the Lunesta, I don't have any of those problems. So that's it. I do make what's called banana peel tea. Banana peel tea, you just boil the banana peels, because I freeze my bananas for smoothies. I boil the banana peels. It's really, they said for only, I think they said like 10 minutes, but I do it for, I think I did it for a couple hours, an hour or two. And it's not the best taste in the world. And you don't really want to add sugar or anything that's going to make you like, ugh, especially if you're sensitive to those things. But you can add honey a little bit, but see, that doesn't, to me, it seems like it would defeat the purpose, because honey does give you, it's a natural energy. But if you drink banana peel tea before you go to bed, it does have magnesium, it does have other things that will help you to fall asleep. If that doesn't work for you, then you maybe talk to your primary physician or try the diphenhydramine, but I wouldn't recommend the diphenhydramine. I don't like it at all. Anywho, that's it. That's all I'm on is Lunesta. I'm not taking any antipsychotics. I'm not taking any antidepressants. I'm taking my Lunesta at about 7 p.m. I'm getting to sleep before or by 9 p.m. and then I wake up usually between 5 and 7 in the morning. And that works great for me. And I feel good during the day. Sometimes I have to take a nap in the afternoon, and sometimes I don't. So, and like I said, since I did yoga just this morning, it's a completely different feeling. It's a completely different type of energy that I have, like much more functional, or much more much easier to work through kind of energy. But that could be, I don't know what I ate this morning for breakfast. I ate mini spooners, which are frosted mini wheats, for breakfast, and some rice with butter and milk. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, though. But needless to say, that's all I have for sleep problems. Yes, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep. If you have autism spectrum disorder, it's very likely that you could have that comorbidity, and I would suggest speaking to your primary physician before you take anything medication-wise. Obviously, you have to. Lunesta is a controlled substance. I have to have it prescribed, and they only prescribe me 30 per month, and they only give it to me once the other one is gone. Like, it's controlled, which is good. I mean, I don't abuse it. I don't intend to abuse it, and I don't want anybody else to. So that's just fine for me. Every month I have to have a new prescription, and every month I have to have it filled right when the other one is gone. But she needs my help. So thank you for watching.
I wanted to tell you something.
What, dear? I'm recording a video, though. What?
Ow.
I'll have to cut this out at the end of the video. She broke her fingernail.
Again.
She broke her fingernail again. Anywhoosie, thank you for watching. That's all I have for autism spectrum disorders and sleep problems.
I almost ran into the wall.
Kids are great. Kids are great. Thank you for watching. Any questions, any comments, leave them down below. If I do or don't edit, if I don't edit and you still continue through this whole 16-minute video, kudos to you. You're a trooper. Thank you for watching. I hope my information was helpful. If there are any things that you'd like to discuss or hear about, please leave that down in the comment section, in the comments below. Feel free to like and share. Both would be greatly appreciated, and everyone have a lovely day.